Alrighty, so let's begin. If anyone joins us, he'll join us. He'll come in. So Open Sesame, I believe you're all here because you know what it's about. It's hit control for smartphone, tablets, and recently computers as well. The solution relies on a camera that follows the user's face. And through those head movements, you can control an on-screen cursor through which you can control any app on the phone or the computer. There's really no limitations to what you can and can't do with Sesame. Just as a small background, the company was started by a quadriplegic person who suffered a spinal cord injury about 15 years ago. I did not have previous acquaintance with special needs world. And when he saw me demonstrate head tracking technology, sort of pieced the pieces of the puzzle together and said, basically, hey, can you make me a smartphone I could use? So that was a long time ago, and it's what we set out to do. What I'm going to start with is showing you the Windows solution. As I said, it's a bit newer. It came out about 2 or 3 months ago. And after that, we'll go into the Android version, which is smartphones and tablets. Feel free to shoot any question you'd like. I know we have signed up some professionals in the field, occupational therapists or assistive technology professionals who try different solutions with their patients. We have, I think, someone actually needing or using this technology. And some people asking for their close family or friends. Feel free to ask anything, and I will follow up after the talk with links to installation if you'd like to try the Windows or Android version, as well as information on demo licenses for professionals who'd like to try the solution with their patients. We have those as well. I'm sorry, I'm talking to the wrong camera. We have those as well. So I'm going to start off by sharing my screen. This is currently, I'm working from a Microsoft Surface tablet that's connected to a screen. The Surfaces are great. They have the built-in cameras. It's a nice sized screen. This could also be a laptop or a personal computer with a webcam attached. The minimum requirements are really any camera you'd find works, and most computers that are out there today would do the job. So let's start. Oh, I think someone just joined us, so welcome. We're diving into the Windows version. Afterwards, we'll see the Android version as well. I'm going to share my screen. Share screen number 2. Okay. So this is my screen. I have here Open Sesame installed. Once you download it, you need to sign up, and it starts off with a free trial, so anyone can download and start using it. Right now, I'm already logged in, so we sort of skip that part. And another nice thing that happens when you first install it is it pops up with a very short tutorial, just to give you a sense of what the app is about and how to control it. You can always return to that tutorial, and I'll go over it briefly. In the About section, you can find here the Getting Started guide, right here. And as you can see here, the camera is already working. It's sort of following my face. Currently, I haven't started it yet, so it's not controlling anything. Let's take a look at the Getting Started guide. So it's really, really basic. We didn't want to intimidate anyone with too much information, sort of to get a notion of how this works. You can either show video clips of how to use it, or there are very small exercises. I'll show you one that, again, walk you through using the solution. So right now, it's just to get a notion of the mouse cursor. You can see here in the background, you can see the camera in the background, or you can see my head moving. I can highlight these stars. I don't know if the sound is coming through, but they play a nice little ding. And it's sort of just to give you a sense of the mouse cursor and make sure you can, you can reach all parts of the screen. The next page, again, either a short video clip or a small exercise to get acquainted with the system. So this page tells you how to click. So you basically stay in place. You saw that green timer go around. That's the dwell time required to register a click. And when that passes, a menu opens up. Right now it's very simplified. And you can select a left click. And I click the butterfly and it flew away. Let's show that again. I stay in place. That progress bar fills up. The menu opens up. I select a left click and it registers a click. One more time. And you can play this as much as you like. Next screen shows the different menus, action menus. So there's the basic one that starts off with just a left click and a right click. And then we'll go into it. There's an advanced menu. You can see there are many more options, and that lets you drag or swipe and scroll. And then a couple more neat things. We'll see that real soon. Okay, so let's start let's start still in the basic mode to see what it's like. Currently, I have the computer set up to open with one click, no double click, and then you'll see how that works. So I'm gonna click Open Sesame. The screen opens up, searches for my face. Once it's locked on my face, I control the mouse cursor. You can see the tracking, the blue square. When I reach the topmost part of that control region, the cursor reaches the top part of the screen. If I go to the bottom, it reaches the bottom of the screen. It's right down here. Then right and left, you can see how my movement correlates to the movement of the mouse cursor. You can define this rectangle that specifies how much you need to move. So if someone has limited mobility or limited head movement possible, you can definitely have it work with much less head movement, and it would still work. So let's, for example, open up this pictures folder. I hovered over it. This menu opens up. I'd like to left click it just to open it up. And let's open a picture. I stay on it, select the left click. Oh, sorry. There you go. So that's the picture we opened. Let's try another one. I just found these on the net. And there you go. That's a tiger. If I wanted to say copy or move one of the pictures to the desktop, I could right click. Let's choose this gorilla. Right click. Then the right click menu opens up. I choose, let's say, cut. Again, I stay in place. The menu opens up. I chose cut, and I'm going to paste it out here. So I choose the right click and paste. And we move the picture out here. It was in this folder, now it's out here. Now, left click, right click, it's the same as you would use Windows generally. We don't have any special behavior. So obviously prior knowledge of Windows is required, but just the basic things. I'd like to, so we've seen click and right click. I'd like to switch now to the advanced mode so you can see many more options. That's over here in settings. We'll go over them soon. As you can already see, you can adjust the amount of head movement as mentioned, the amount of time required to stay in place. But right now, let's just switch to the advanced mode. And you can see all the different options that open up. You know what, I'm going to turn on one more thing over here in system. I'm gonna hide the window when tracking starts. Okay. So when this opens up, our menu will minimize. And now, if I stay in place, you see many more options opened up. So let's drag one of the images out. Previously, we did cut and paste. Now I selected drag. So once I stay in place, it starts dragging. And now, as you can see, I'm moving this file around. And once I stay in place again, it will release the drag. So I essentially copied moved the image from inside the folder outside to the desktop. You can see that again. I'll select a swipe or a drag. And then once I'm in drag mode, I can move the files and here. You saw I'll show that again, the image follows my dragging. So this could actually be done inside a drawing app, and you could actually draw, and we have some users who do draw with their head. You could draw inside Paint or whatever app you use, completely with head movements. If you wanted to repeatedly drag, it's useful in some games, or if you're drawing, you just want to always, you know what, I'll show you. I'm gonna open up Paint. So if I want to repeatedly draw, I did repeat swipe. And now, every time I stay in place, it starts a swipe. And if I let go, it finishes it. It's following my daughter's drawings. Let's draw a heart, because that's all what kids draw. I think I need to, just 1 second. So something has moved. Yeah, sorry, just one small change I need to do. I changed the settings of the computer before this call, and now something is not working exactly as it should. Can you still see the screen? Can anyone confirm?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, great. So let's open up Sesame. Okay, yeah, this menu, which I'll talk about, was hidden in the previous setting, so now I have it back. Back to my drawing. So just to show you what I wanted to do, let's switch to red now and make the line thicker. Select this thick line. So if I'm in always in repeat drag mode, I can draw that heart again in red, as all hearts should be. This menu here has the option to stop dragging. And this is how I exit that special mode and get this menu back. Now, just as I did repeat drag, which repeatedly swipes or drags the cursor, I can, in advanced mode, have repeat tap or click. Sorry, I sometimes confuse the terminology between a smartphone and a tablet. So now every time I stay in place, it taps. This is very useful for accessing menus. So if I want to change the width of the cursor and the color to green now. And every time I stay in place now, well, the dots are really small. Don't know if you can see them. But every time I stay in place, it just clicks. So this is very intuitive and faster to operate. And And again, if I want to leave that special mode, the repeating tapping or dragging, I go to stop clicking, and now I get the menu back. Now, if at any time I'd like to pause and perhaps read an article or be in a conversation or whatever it is I'm using on the computer, I can always pause here. And now no clicking is happening, no dwelling is happening, the menu is not popping up. So you're free to watch video or read the article, do whatever you want on the computer without any interaction going on. And then once you want to resume control, you just hover over here on the resume and you're back in control. And then you get the menu back. Here, let's close this beautiful drawing. And I don't think I need to save it. One more thing I'd like to show you is if you need to input text. So let's say I want to browse somewhere, open up the browser. So now to type in text, I need a virtual keyboard, an on-screen keyboard. Luckily, Microsoft has that made for us. So I'll open up the start menu. For my convenience, I have here the shortcut, the on-screen keyboard shortcut. And then you get this keyboard that pops up. So now if I was in the address bar or the search bar of the browser, I could just type in what I'm searching for. And for typing, that's also a great example to utilize the repeat tap or repeat click. So now I can just type faster every time I stay in place it taps. So let's search for Google or whatever it is we're interested in. And hit the enter key. So for typing, again, that's really convenient. And we know a lot of our users use that to type, which is great. Say the results, I'm gonna put this away. Say the search result is not right at the top. I wanna scroll down a bit. We have a dedicated scroll option. That's the orange fella over here, scroll. Once you open that up, you get this interface and then you just move your head down. If you can see the camera, I'm moving my head down and it scrolls down. If I stay in place, like if my head is centered, it doesn't do anything. If I take it up, it scrolls up. Very convenient, again, for reading through an article or searching, going through search results, perhaps in your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed. It's just very convenient to keep scrolling again and again and again. You don't have to try to click those little arrow buttons to scroll. If you want to stop scrolling, you take your head to the right, you see the red X fill up, and you have your cursor back. That's basically all these options. Here in system, you can do a reposition. Repositioning is if, I don't know, you slouched in your chair, someone bumped the camera and it moved around. You want to have the system recalibrate on your face, so that's the reposition. It's really, really fast, so you shouldn't be timid to try it out. Again, it's that 1 or 2 seconds that go by, and it picks up, and you're all centered again. And the last thing I didn't cover is under here in left click, you also have double click. In Windows, sometimes, depending on the way it's set up, double click is very important, so that's down here. And it's double click. Yeah, so any questions so far, anyone, before I go into the settings and the different customizations? Okay. Okay. So to cover, sorry, is anyone saying anything? Okay. To cover some of the settings. So sensitivity is the amount of head movement required to reach all parts of the screen to control the cursor. The higher the sensitivity is, the less head movement that is required to reach all parts of the screen. A good way to go at it is to use the measure sensitivity option and then fine tune with the manual, with the manual controls. The measure sensitivity actually checks how much you can move your head and applies the right settings. So say I couldn't move my head a lot. For the example, I'm moving my head just a little. And you'll see that it sets pretty high sensitivity settings. And now if I was to control Sesame, you'll see the camera, the small window. Let's open up Sesame again. So you can see very small movements reach all parts of the screen. For me, it's a bit hard because I'm used to more fast movements, but people who have limited range, it's very convenient to just move the cursor slightly and control it that way. If you find that the sensitivity is very high, but you're having a hard time focus on a specific element, you can change the control mode to adaptive. And adaptive sort of lets you focus on a smaller region in the screen. I'll show you how that looks like. So you see this dotted cursor, this dotted rectangle. Right now, my head movement is mapped just to this rectangle. So it's easier for me to pinpoint where I want within that rectangle. If I wanted to, say, go to the recycling bin, I'd push the limit of the movement, and then that moves the focus or the control region. So now I'm here, and it's easier for me to reach the recycling bin. Again, it's for very high sensitivity settings. It lets you focus on a smaller part of the screen, and then you get better control of it. That was adaptive mode. Let's go back to the settings, and you can configure how fast that control region moves with you. You can adjust the different timers, so how long does it take to register a dwell for the menu to open up, and then how long within that menu it takes to select an action, whether a click or a right click or a drag. You can have it, by the way, always click so that menu doesn't open up. It's usually better if you're working with a communication software, like with AAC software. Professionals will obviously know these. Some apps are used for people who are nonverbal, so you just click buttons to speak out for you. If that's the use case, then always clicking, again, doesn't let you right click, it doesn't let you drag, but it just lets you click very simply wherever you focus that clicks, and it's convenient for those types of applications. The click dwell region specifies how much you can move around or jitter, and still is considered a dwell. The timer still, the progress bar still fills up. I'll show that with high sensitivity. I'm sorry, with high settings. So if I wanted to click the, let's say this link, you can see, yeah, I'll try to show that again. You can see I'm moving my cursor quite a bit, and the progress bar still fills up. It doesn't stop just because I move. So if someone has tremors, for example, that'd be a great option for him. Moving on, I'm gonna return some of these settings to my comfort mode. Okay. This is the basic or advanced menu that I've shown you previously. And then over here in the system, you can adjust the colors. That's just fun, or some people it's more than fun, it's important. You can actually have the camera show up in the back of the entire computer. Sometimes it's useful for helping people ramp up sort of understand what's going on. Are you sure? So now you can see my face in the background of the entire screen. You can see where it's tracking. Over time, I'd say it's complicated, but we've heard from professionals, sometimes it's a good tool to get people onboarded and sort of understand what's going on. And if you'll notice, the progress bar is purple now. So again, my face is showing at the background of everything, more or less. That was here in system. Switch access. Switch access is a very important subject. So if you're not familiar with switches or accessibility switches, basically there are sort of buttons you can click, and for different individuals, different buttons apply. So some of these switches are just big physical plastic buttons that you can maybe bump with your head or move with a crass movement of the hand just to bump it. Some switches detect the smallest amount of muscle tension, so you don't really need to move your hand, but just sort of think of moving your hand and it registers that. Some, again, you blow into and that registers as a click. And what that lets you do is you can have it start or stop Sesame. You can adjust, you can configure, assign different buttons to do different actions. And this, by the way, could also be just a keyboard if that's convenient for you. If you've noticed, I've been stopping the tracking from time to time when I demonstrated things. So that was with this hotkey or shortcut, stop tracking. I did Control-Alt-S. Again, for occupational therapists working with different patients, sometimes it's easier to intervene with just hitting something on the keyboard, explaining to the patient, and then resuming tracking with whatever whatever key you have assigned. Now, the other option here, replaced well. This is great if someone can move his head and operate a switch. I want to show you that. Let's say this is. Let's change that. And so now I have a button that clicks for me. I don't need that dwell interface anymore. Every time I press the button, it just clicks. And if I hold it pressed, then it drags. I'll show you how that works. So I'm over here in pictures. I'll click the button that I have assigned. Right now it's Spacebar, and that opens up whatever I'm using. Let's see that again. Now, if I hold the Spacebar, then I'm dragging the object. As long as I keep it hold, it's still dragging, and to let go, I release the Spacebar or accessibility switch, and that releases the drag. Show that again. I'll move it over here. That's very convenient. There's no more timers going around, no menus opening up. So if you can use a switch, it's a very good option. And it's also a great option for starting Sesame. We haven't sort of jumped over this, but you could use your voice to start Sesame. So you could say Open Sesame to have it started. If you want real independent access to the computer, you don't want anyone opening the computer for you. And for people who are nonverbal, switch integration is great. So you can assign a switch to start the tracking, and from there on, it's the head control that controls the computer. Last thing I want to show you. Oh, sorry, small thing. Before that, this little menu, the pause or resume clicking, you can move around to wherever is convenient for you, you or the patient. And then once you're happy with where it is, click done. And that's where it's going to be. And then last thing I want to show you is you can turn off automatic face detection, in which case you need to define with your mouse cursor what the tracking is. So if someone has, I don't know, special features on his face, perhaps a BiPAP mask, a breathing mask, so the automatic face detection won't always pick up. So you can sort of drag where you want the control region to be, click Open Sesame, and now that, here, I'll pull it up. well, right now it's almost the same as face, but I could have it just on my lips and nose. And now, again, I'll bring it up. Now you can see the tracking is just over my lips and nose. So you could assign different areas to track. We have a user from Japan who put a sticker on his finger and used that finger to control. He manually selected the finger and used that for control. So again, it's an important feature, and it's under system if you turn off automatic face detection or automatically detect face. That's a very brief yet thorough rundown of the Windows version. Any questions so far? So like I said in the beginning, this would work on any PC or laptop or Surface tablet running Windows. You'll need a 64-bit operating system, but most of them are today. The 30-bit ones are pretty old. And any webcam we do. So whether it's within the laptop, that built-in camera, or a very simple webcam mounted on the screen, that should definitely work. And you can also show you could be seated pretty far away from the screen, it will still detect you. Sometimes you get people with wheelchairs, and the wheelchairs can't roll under the desk, so they're sort of stuck away from the screen here, and you can still use that from this distance. So that's definitely an option. Just play around the sensitivity parameters to make sure it's the control is convenient. Okay. So that was it regarding Windows. Feel free to ask anything. I'm going to do a small switch here to connect the smartphone. Connected one of the cameras, connected the smartphone. Now I have here, where am I? Yeah, this is a regular off-the-shelf smartphone. It's a Samsung S8, so that's like, I think, 2 years old. Just to say that Sesame works with any Android smartphone or tablet that you find. It needs to be running Android 7 and up, but that's already 3 years old, so most of the newer phones support it. Older phones also got updates, so it's almost any phone now. And I have it mounted here. So it's seated on a mount in front of my face. We offer a nice mount. It's very durable. It's called a bamboo mount. It's from Rehadapt. They're a German company. They sort of tailored it with us because in the past they have mounts that hold laptops, so it's very heavy. And then knowing that we just need to hold a smartphone or tablet, they built a smaller, small factor, sort of slicker mount called a bamboo, and it's very durable and yet adjustable. So if you're interested, there's more information on the website, and let me know. I'll send you some additional follow-up information. And now let's see. I need to. I need to 1 second make sure the smartphone is shown on the computer, and then I can show you what's happening on the smartphone. So let's open up. Open up Visor. All right, yeah. And we want to use Visor View. I'm going to be sharing my screen with you in just a sec. Okay. Right, let's move that over here. Sorry, I'll stop sharing this screen and I will share this screen. Okay, you should be seeing now a screen of a smartphone. If you're not, somebody shout out. So this smartphone is mounted in front of my face. Our users have it either at their desk or their bed, or often the wheelchair itself, so it could be mobile. To turn it on in the first place, I'm going to use my voice, so it's our users gain really independent access. You don't need it, to bother anyone to get it started. That goes through OK Google, so we'll see how that works. OK Google heard me, and I'm going to say Open Sesame. Yeah, I was talking a lot. OK Google, Open Sesame. That opens up, searches for my face, very similar to what you've seen on the Windows. And now I'm controlling the mouse cursor. I'm going to move my head around a bit so you get a notion. Very similar to the Windows version. To leave to the home screen, you can use these on-screen buttons here, or in case the device has physical buttons, we still wanted them to be accessible. So we have our own home button. If you stick to the bottom, that takes you to the home. That's, again, if you stick to the very most bottom, you can have the back, home, and recent apps option. Now, we have here as well a basic mode and advanced mode. Since we covered the basics, I went directly to advanced. So you can see there are all sorts of options here. And actually, the smartphone has more options than Windows because there are some nuances to controlling a smartphone or tablet. So now you see there are a lot of options here. There's a tap. There's a repeat tap, which is useful for typing, like I showed you on the computer. There's a long tap. So sometimes here you long tap usually brings up extra menus like positioning or moving from home screen and things like that. Let's see how I can swipe to the next screen. So swiping, you define the swipe you want, this little arrow, and then once you stay in place, here, sorry, it was on the, we were setting up that icon, let's show that again. Click the swipe. I want to swipe from the right to left, and that brought up this menu. Let's swipe, swipe back. Let's swipe to this way. If you want to search something, let's tap it. Now, smartphones and tablets have on-screen keyboard. Sorry, that's Hebrew. An on-screen keyboard, that's something that's built in on all smartphones and tablets. You don't need a special app for that. Sorry, the keyboard is a bit weird because of the screen sharing option. Okay, here we go. So if I wanted to type now, I'd select a tab, but I'd say repeat tab. And then let's see what our friend Donald Trump is doing. That's always, you always know you'll get recent headlines if you search for Donald Trump, whether you like him or not. The guy provides news. And now we have the search results. If I want to leave the repeat tab mode, I go to the left side here. This little icon opens up, and now I have all options again. It's not repeatedly typing. And I can scroll again like I did on Windows. So it's under swiping here. You can see if I take my head down, it swipes down. And this is very convenient for Facebook feeds and Instagram, or just search results or reading an article. Take my head up, it scrolls up. And if I take my face to the left, it leaves that scroll option. Let's search for something a little less political. Gonna include this. Let's search for puppies. Yeah. An example I often give, so he already remembers that. Oh, it's not PayPal, puppies. So we can use the autocomplete here. So now if we go to images of puppies. Just want to show you that you can also zoom in. That's, whoops, do that again. That's always fun. If I wanted to zoom in on a picture, over here in the yellow and the orange option, you have the pinch. That's how you zoom in or out in smartphones. So let's zoom in. And that's a big, nice old puppy. What else? The pause menu. So because the phone has a smaller screen real estate, you can't put a lot of menus on top of it without blocking content. All our menus, as you've noticed, are sort of hidden outside the screen, like these buttons. So the locking or pausing option is hidden over here on the right side. So now I'm locked. You can see the little cursor say nothing's happening. It's not dwelling, it's not clicking. And if I want to unlock, I bring it over here, pulls up the latch again, and I'm back in control. There you go. Here in the options, you can access reposition like we did on Windows. That restarts the tracking. You could turn off the tracking. And you can access even the power menu. So if you want to restart your phone for whatever reason, you can do that as well. Let's go back because I don't want to restart it. If you pull down from the top, you can access a notification center. That's just all smartphones. And we have our own menus here to turn off or reposition as well, and access to the volume up and down keys, because again, they're usually physical buttons and we wanted our users to be able to access them. So I'll go over some of the settings. We have many more settings here. I won't go over the ones that we already covered in the PC. There's a very thorough training module. There is sort of like the ramp up you saw before. No, that's not what I wanted. Yeah, so this, as you can see, very similar to the Windows one. And then it goes on to a even more thorough tutorial that takes you through clicking, always clicking, swiping, tapping different things, etc. You can jump to any one of these chapters directly. And in settings, so you have a sensitivity we covered. You can measure, calibrate sensitivity automatically. There's the absolute and adaptive control mode. So that's that small region of the screen that you're working on. Moderate is for very large shaking. If anyone's interested in that, I can cover that offline. Just shoot me an email. Face detection, again, like we mentioned, automatic or manual. So you could define perhaps a smaller part of the face or whatever limb you want to control the device. You can adjust the amount of click time and the action selection time. The menu can fade away if you didn't select any action, if it accidentally opened up, so you can adjust how much time that is as well. We have some different pause or lock modes. I think the latch, the one I showed you, is the best of all options. Switch mode, so again, like in the computer, if you have an external switch and you wanted to start Sesame or stop it, or alternatively, have it replace the entire dwell mechanism, you can do that as well. And then under system, I think the biggest change here is options for call-related voice commands. So with Sesame, if you enable that, you can, when there's a call incoming, you can say Sesame answer or Sesame dismiss to answer or dismiss the phone call. And then during a phone call, you can say Sesame end call to hang it up. So you can use your voice to manage your phone calls. We added that because users said, you know, I have a phone call coming in. By the time it opens up, finds my face, I try to hit the answer or reject button, it's already gone. So these are quick access voice commands to incoming phone calls. Then you can set different sizes for the pointer, for the action menu, different sort of colors. You can also have it automatically answer incoming phone calls, and there are a couple of options under that, if it's all phone calls or just the ones in the contacts, etc. When a phone call comes in, you can turn on the speaker automatically or not. That usually depends if you're wearing a Bluetooth headset or you want the phone to speak out loudly. And then you can also lock the cursor automatically if a phone call comes in, because if you're on a phone call, you probably don't want to be clicking things around. And you can always unlock in case you want to access something on your phone. So yeah, and then the last two tabs are the subscription details. And this comes with 7 days free trial as well. If you subscribe, you get an additional 30 free days, and you can opt out during and not pay a thing. And then for professionals working in the field, we also offer demo licenses for no cost, so they can show it to patients and see if they like the solution. So that's a pretty thorough rundown of our solutions. I can share with you we're starting to port to web as well. So the plan is to have websites offer Sesame's capability on their own without having to use one of our solutions. Just any website you go into could be head control or head navigated. And there's a lot of things on the roadmap as well. Yeah, so this is the time I'd love to take any questions you may have. And if you're shy from the group, you can always write me afterwards as well. Does anybody have any question? Please unmute yourself first if you do, because we can't hear you. Yeah, oh, I see we have a couple of comments on the chat. It was hidden before. Okay, the voice command. Sorry, I'm seeing now questions asked about 15 minutes ago. So voice commands, both on Windows and Android. You can say Open Sesame to start Sesame automatic or independently. You could say on Windows there is a pause and resume option as well, and reposition. So if you want to restart the tracking, they're available on Android as well. You just need to go through the Android app as well. So it's always OK Google, and then Open Sesame, and then Sesame reposition or something like that, which will make the action work. Here, I'll show you that real quick. Yes, thank you, Google. OK Google, Open Sesame. So now I'm in control. If I want to restart the tracking, for example, I say again, OK Google, Open Sesame, Sesame reposition. And what just happened is, since you opened it up while it was running, it listens automatically to another voice command, so you could reposition. And then to answer incoming phone calls, like I said earlier, you just go into the settings, you select the right options, and you can, here, call related voice commands. You just say Sesame answer, Sesame dismiss when a phone call comes in, and it answers the phone call. Is environment lighting an issue for calibration? So extreme lighting could be an issue. I mean, if the sun's directly behind you, then the camera basically sees a black blurb, just like, you take a photo in front of the sun. But we have users using it outside. We have tested it and have users using it in very dim locations. So most environments will work no problem. Again, if there's another thing that we notice sometimes, if the person who is wearing glasses and there's a strong light source here, like a window, so that reflection sometimes throws it off. In case you have if you're a professional, you have a patient coming in, it's something doesn't pick up because of a reflection. Sometimes we've seen one time a guy that was bald and the reflection from his head prevented detection. You can use the manual face detection just to get past that phase, and then use it like normally. And then environment lighting an issue, we said. Any future for iOS? That's a great question. iOS, so my background, I said, was technological. I was developing actually iOS applications. When we set out to do this, we wanted to make the entire device available or controllable through the head, accessible through the head control. With iOS, Apple is very strict with what you can and can't do as an app. And you just can't control other apps. You can't change the user interface to the extent we do. So we unfortunately can't do this on Apple. We even tried talking with them many times with very relevant people inside the organization. They haven't responded, unfortunately, yet. Whereas Google, on the other hand, were very supportive. When we just started, we used to hack phones to make this possible because there was a technicality that you couldn't really do this. And when Google picked up on that, they actually opened up capabilities for us to become an app, and so we wouldn't have to hack phones. So Google were very responsive and helpful. Again, unfortunately, and that was my background, iOS, we just can't control to the same extent. So that's unfortunate. Any more questions? We have them coming in on the chat as well. So just so you know, pricing-wise, on the Android version, there's a subscription model. So while it's free to download and trial, if you want to keep using it, you could pay monthly. It's $19.99. Or if you pay yearly, there's included 3 months there, so it's only $220. And then a lifetime license, you can also opt for a lifetime license. That's $700. Same for Windows. Windows only has that $700 license. And then if you're interested in both, currently we have a significant discount that it goes for just $1,000 each for both. So if you know you're going to use both platforms, that's a great option. And that includes our premium support, and we're always there to help. And we always we talk a lot to our users to know what we should develop next and what's missing, what's working, and really I used to not like saying this because I thought it was a cliche, but our users say we changed their lives. People are now reconnecting with their friends and family, whether it's just calling them up or through Facebook or other social networks. It's the independence to control what you watch during the day. The more advanced users connected to their smart homes, so suddenly it's not just this digital device, it's not a computer or a smartphone, it's actually the fan or the AC or the TV, the lights. Because today a smartphone is really just a hub to almost anything technological around you. So it's really, really great for those that need it. And again, I wouldn't be saying that on ourselves. Our users say that. They testify, they send us thank you letters, so it's their voices. Yes, been asked about trial period. So the app is free to download and try for anyone for a week. And then if you want extra time, we're very lenient with that. So definitely write me the app afterwards, Clay, and we'll get you a longer period. We could set it to a month or whatever you need to feel comfortable with the solution. Since one of the founders of the company is a quadriplegic himself, we really want to help people. It's not about the money. It's about that one more person that's accessing a computer or a smartphone by himself. So definitely. Okay. Any more questions so far? Excellent. So I'll be sending everyone on the call a follow-up with links to download. And if you need an extended trial demo, extended trial license or a demo license for your patients, let me know, and we'll have that sorted out. Thank you, everyone. Thanks for attending. I really appreciate it. Have a great day.